Grand Rising beloveds, my name is Sheena with the Way of Namaste, and this is our community prayer circle. Happy Soulful Sunday. Today we enter Taurus season. So if we've been feeling the hustle, bustle, the rushed momentum, the fire of this fire horse energy this year, the Aries, the stellium in Aries, all of the Aries energy. Today we may begin to digest it a bit more, ground it in, allow ourselves to begin to move a little bit slower. Taurus is a very Venusian sign, very yin, very feminine. And one thing about the feminine is she does not like to be rushed. She likes to take her own sweet time. She likes to be in the being. As humanity, that's what a lot of this shift is moving from that doing into that being. Soulful Sundays are usually a great time to practice that being. We become so accustomed to the doing, the Monday through Friday, grueling work schedules, the dynamics with the family, the running around, the doing the errands, the commitments and responsibilities. And then for a lot of us, Sunday comes and it's like, okay, I can sleep in. I can go to bed early. I can cook myself a nice breakfast. Maybe Sunday is about fellowship and there's a community that you get together with. Maybe Sunday is around reading a good book, just curling up on the hammock or getting the bare feet in the garden, allowing the sun to come cascade down on you. Taurus is an earth energy, so it reminds us that we're here, and it reminds us to find the pleasure and the joy in being here. So Taurus loves the material riches, like food, like organic fabrics on the skin, like the elements, the elementals, feeling the sunshine, or getting outside in a rain shower, or noticing and listening to the breeze. It's also an air sign. So for me, this also, oh, sorry, the moon today is in an air sign. It's in Gemini. It just made its shift a couple of hours ago, Eastern Standard Time, from Taurus into Gemini. So we just came from that earth energy into that air energy. So some things about the air energy with the moon today might be getting a little bit social, chatting, reading, communicating. So the sun won't officially move into Taurus until this evening, but we might be feeling the pace start to slow down. We've had a lot of forward momentum. We've had a lot of innovative energy. This week we're navigating Gene Key 3. This is the shadow of chaos. This is the gift of innovation, and this is the divine expression of innocence. Today I was reflecting on a quote from my old high school English teacher. And he used to say, in this world of chaos and madness, there are few lucid moments. I always come back to that quote. And I remember that if we want those lucid moments, we've got to insert them. We've got to place them because he's right. This world is so full of chaos and madness. And up until now, the collective has been reflecting back to us the shadow frequency. So this week, we might be feeling that shadow frequency of chaos. That chaos might be feeling agitation, frustration, overwhelm, impatience, this idea that things are not working out as you wished and desired for them to work out. So the gift of innovation is when we actually step back and we see, well, if it's not working, what can I do to change it? What can I do to take responsibility around something that's not working out in the highest and greatest good? And how can I make an impact to influence an innovative way to do something? So, Aries season has been about the beginning of the year, the innovation, the pioneering spirit, the courage to go first, leading the way, blazing a new trail, starting something new. So, this gift of innovation is all about that momentum of starting something new. With innovation, we get swept up in the moment in a good way, in a positive way. We're not rushing to the next moment. We're not fretting what has happened, but we start to see that this crunch of the chaos is actually where the magic is, because that chaos is data for us. That chaos tells us where is something not working in our lives. Sometimes we need those moments. It can't just all be smooth sailing 24/7, 365. We have those moments of unease, of crunchiness, and then we repivot. We say, okay, we tried this, we experimented with this, that didn't work, but what we learned from it was this. And now we can tweak that plan. We can rearrange something. We can innovate and start a new way of doing something. Maybe it's the belief system around something that changes. I've told myself that I can't over and over and over again. What happens if I tell myself that I can? You know, that old adage that says, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. Because that belief system is what actually fuels the pathway ahead. So if we start to dismantle any of those belief systems that say I can't, and we rewire them to say I'm not a victim of my circumstance, I am a co-creator with this benevolent universe. If something is coming into my field that's not working out, it's here as intel to tell me that I have the ability to do something about it, to change it. So whenever we have these prayer circles, I always like to invite us to have something to sip on, something to drink, so that we can ingest our prayers. I always like to pull an oracle card as well. And because we have the moon in Gemini, for me, when I think about Gemini, I think about the magi, I think about the magic. I think about this air sign. I think about the winged ones. When I think about the winged ones, I think about the messengers that are all around us. When I think about the messengers that are all around us, I think about our archangels, the seraphim. So today, I'm going to pull a card from the Archangels deck by Kyle Gray. There's 22 archangels here. So let's see what one wants to be present for us before we go into our silent portal at 11:11. Beautiful. It's Uriel. Learning experience. There he is there. Learning experience, perfect for the Gemini moon. Take time to review, study, and hone your knowledge before proceeding further. So Aries can be a little bit impulsive. That season can be about starting before you really know what you're doing. And now as we enter Taurus season, we have a little bit more invitation to figure out what we're doing, actually have a plan of action, and slowly take practical steps towards fulfilling that action each day. Uriel, God's light, is the angel of light, brilliant like the sun, shedding light on anyone or anything that needs to be seen for understanding and spiritual growth. He comes to us when it's time for awareness and answers. He will shine his torch of light upon our life and help us weigh up our options and obtain the facts in order to make the best decision. Uriel is also the angel who comes to us in education and higher learning so that we can be the best version of ourselves. It's time to take an inventory of your life. Recognizing where you are and how far you've come is essential for the next stage of your evolution. Some situations and challenges have not worked out favorably, but this has led you to your gifts and ignited your inner determination. Your angels are here now to encourage you through this time of inquiry and learning so that you can reach a deeper state of awareness and initiate great spiritual growth. If you've been wondering about a particular situation or challenge in your life, the message today is that this is an essential lesson that will lead to growth. You may feel you're in a funk or stuck at this time because you're in the thick of it, but soon the clouds will part and the light will shine once more. Know that things do get better from here. In the meantime, call in your angels and invite them to shed light on any darkness so that you can be directed towards your highest good and truth. Let's go ahead and pause for our moment of silence in this 1111 portal. Taking a couple deep breaths. Allowing that message to land in our system. Here I invite us to soften our gaze or close down our eyes if it feels in alignment for us. And just begin to bring our awareness in towards that spirit of air that moves through us, that inspires us. Allowing ourselves to take perhaps the deepest breath that we've taken all day long in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just beginning to do a little inventory here without judging, without changing, without problem solving and fixing. But just noticing here if there's anything that you sense in your life that feels disorganized or out of control right now. Just seeing what is sparked when I say that. Noticing if there's any tension in the body and allowing yourself to breathe right into that space. And then practicing this art of reframe, of shifting the perspective. What if we saw chaos not as a mistake or something unruly, but what if we saw chaos as raw creation? This raw energy before creation actually takes form. It's malleable, ever-changing. Perhaps like the caterpillar, it just turns into goop, goes into this cocoon, loses its complete identity, its skeletal structure. Doesn't know what it's going to become. It just knows that it's being undone, and that can feel really chaotic. So just noticing what happens when we invite in this reframe, that this is our raw creation energy in the moments before it forms into what it will be. And just notice that when we try to resist instead of saying try, when we do resist the chaos, how it can feel overwhelming. When we start to embrace the chaos, oftentimes we start to feel, sense, see, or perceive the patterns that are emerging. You ever had a moment where it felt like everything was stacked up against you? Can't find your keys, you're running late for the appointment, you hit every red light, and then all of a sudden you catch 11:11 on the clock. And you realize that even in the midst of what appears to be chaotic, here's a moment of synchronicity. Maybe your favorite music comes on, the song lyric you need just in that moment. You realize even in this world of chaos and madness, here is that lucid moment because I became aware of it. I didn't get swept up in the overwhelm of being late and rushing and the red lights, the missing keys. I allowed myself to tap into the eternal now. And I found myself in a moment of clarity, of synchronicity. Innovation within this gene key isn't about forcing something. It's actually about allowing life to reorganize itself through you and opening yourself up to the process. Instead of asking the world to change, what if you become more adaptable? What if you become more creative? What if you allow yourself to be open to surprises, to magic, to wonder? When we return to that pure trust in life itself, we return to the purity of the child. And within that frequency, we return to this magic of innocence, where we don't need the world to be a certain way. We are malleable, adaptable, creative, magical. And we allow ourselves to be open to the magic of what's unfolding right in front of us, the perfection that's unfolding. And when we have that childlike openness, we don't see the mistakes. We don't sense the disorder. It's all perfect exactly as it is, even in the moments where it doesn't feel perfect, because we allow it without trying to shift it. So innocence really is when we invite in this raw energy of creation to reorient ourselves. And we surrender to the intelligence of existence itself. So let's go ahead and take a deep, slow breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Just inviting your body to soften. If it's already soft, inviting it to soften even more. Allowing the shoulders to roll back and down. Allowing the eyebrows to unfurl, the jaw to unclench. Any gripping in the fingers or toes become softened. And here, let's practice together. Just bringing into our loving awareness anything that feels chaotic right now. Anything that feels unresolved. Any place you might feel uncertain about something. And let's just give ourselves a moment to fully feel it. Again, we're just becoming aware of it. We're just noticing what we notice when we lovingly bring in the chaos. Now, invitation to gently say to yourself, within or aloud, whatever feels in alignment, what if I reframe my perspective to see that this is not chaos, but creation in motion? And notice what you notice when you shift that perspective. This is not chaos. This is creation in motion. And feel that throughout your body. And now let's invite in the magic of Gemini, the moon placement today, the spirit of air. And just imagine that beneath the surface, moving through you is something that is so ancient and so intelligent. And imagine that it's quietly reorganizing everything inside of you right now. Any place that feels disordered brings order. Any place that feels like chaos, it brings creation. Any place that felt like uncertainty brings innovation, a new, fresh perspective, a new way of looking at it. And we'll take a few moments in this process, not needing to rush it, not needing to control it, just allowing this process to unfurl in its own divine time from within you. This ancient, vast intelligence that you are reorienting itself into this new now. And just allowing yourself to be in this process. Taking a few deep breaths here. And now let's consciously invite in the frequency of innovation. Maybe we even say to ourselves, I'm available for new pathways to emerge. Maybe the mantra is, I trust what is emerging through me now. Here, this frequency is us becoming adaptable, us becoming open to change, us becoming welcoming of a new way of doing things. And notice when you allow in that spirit of innovation, what softens? Where do you feel it? Where are there new spaces inside your body that begin to open and blossom? Maybe it's a new neural pathway in your head. Maybe it's a new path in your heart. Just noticing what you notice. Just allowing yourself to rest here for a moment. Don't even have to understand what's happening. You don't have to put any pressure on something to happen. You don't have to force, control, or rush the process. The Taurus season invites in the being. Taurus is not just this bull, it's this Taurus field, this electromagnetic frequency around us that is inviting in new thoughts? What if we are not our thoughts, but we are the witness to the thoughts? What if the thoughts do not live in here, but out here, and we obtain them? This gene key this week that we've been navigating, it allows us to remember that change is the only constant here on this planet, in this earth school. In every single one of our curriculums, we will experience a kind of chaos. And this chaos is the beginning of something that's entirely new. And we can't be masters on our first time doing something. We have to allow ourselves to be the novice, to be the student, to be the one figuring it out. And this earth school requires trial and error. It doesn't mean that it's a failure. It means that you experiment with different ways of doing things. Some things may come easy and some things may become more challenging. And every single moment of crisis, of crossroads, of crunchiness is an invitation to say, okay, I tried it this way. Because I feel that crunch, it's my body's way of alerting me that this doesn't feel like the most effortless way. And as Richard Rudd says in the Gene Keys, easy is right. So let me try a different way. Let me experiment with a different concept. None of us are here with all of it figured out, but we get to be in the unfolding of it together. We get to learn from these experiences with Uriel by our side. An invitation for us this week is to take the time to learn, to study, to see what has worked and what has not worked, and know that that's really good intel. It's a really good data to help us to go forward in a different way. Nothing is lost. These are not mistakes when we have trials and errors. It's all part of the curriculum of learning, of trusting. This week, if we feel that chaos around us, that madness, that frustration, those feelings of being out of control, can we give ourselves a moment to pause and to go through this experience again, returning to it as many times as feels good, to just reframe that perspective? What if it's not disordered? What if it's energy in creation mode, taking a new form right now, and allowing ourselves to be in that process so that we can turn into goo, and then we can come out of the cocoon a butterfly with wings, taking on a whole new life, a whole new identity, shape-shifting into a whole new way of being, and then enjoying that process and knowing that it might happen again. Most likely it will. We'll go back into the goop. We'll strip ourselves from the identity again. We'll come out the other side again, something new emerging. I always like to end these calls by sharing our frequencies with one another, sharing the energy that we've cultivated. Today we have very special, raw energy of creation that we've cultivated together. So let's share it with one another. Let's rub our hands together, generating this energy from within. On the count of 3, we're going to blast it out into the space. As we give, we so generously receive. I'll invite us to give this energy around our temple space together. And then I'll invite us to receive it back into our chalice, back into the vessel, to go back out into the rest of the day with this raw energy of creation. 1, 2, 3. Giving this love, this pure potential, this innovation, this innocence around our circle. Now let's receive it. Bringing it right in, giving ourselves a 20-second hug. Knowing that when we give ourselves a 20-second hug, we actually recalibrate the being to a place of safety, of belonging, knowing that we are loved and feeling it by giving ourselves that. Thank you as always for being here. Thank you for sharing your love, your light, your purity, your raw creation energy, your innocence. See you next week. Namaste.